If you have followed my channel for a while, you'll know that World was the game that got me into the series. And you'll also know that at first I did not like it. When I completed the first demo for PlayStation, I was left unfulfilled. I beat the Nergigante, sure, but I was at a loss as to why I should care. I didn't understand why anyone would want to attack a monster for 5 minutes, until it died, only to do it again later. I was not going to buy the game. But as it happens, Capcom released a second demo, with Nergigante added as a monster you could hunt. A friend of mine wanted me to buy the game, and pestered me to play the second demo for a week. Finally, to get him off my back, we made an agreement. If I played the second demo and killed a new monster, he would stop bothering me about it. As you can imagine, I got crushed. I could not do shit to Nergigante. At first I was just annoyed, but after 8 or so attempts, something started to change. Even though I kept losing, I just kept restarting the quest. I tried out different weapons, I read what armors had what skills, I familiarized myself with the mantles, and looked at the weapon move lists. I think that even at this point, I didn't consciously realize that what was going on was I was having fun. Finally, I decided to play the multiplayer, to have an easier time with him. That did not work at all. It was way more difficult with more people. But it was actually kind of worth doing to see the spectacle of him just crushing everybody. Every time we did a dive attack, it felt like a gamble. Is he going to triple card us this time, or just get one? One time though, I saw a guy use a longsword, and did a foresight slash to the dive attack. I immediately switched to longsword and looked up the move descriptions to try and find out how he did it. And when I finally did it myself, I got such a dopamine hit that I knew longsword was going to be my main weapon. The process of learning my weapon of choice made me realize that there was more nuance there than I originally thought. Each weapon was so radically different from every other one that switching was almost like playing a different game. Nergigante flipped some primordial switch in my brain. I have no idea how many times I tried to beat him, but I think it must have been over 100 before I finally won. It felt so good. And more importantly, by the end of it, I was in love with this gameplay, this monster, and this game. Here's my point. The reason I didn't like it at first was because Nergigante did not require anything of me. I could beat him without knowing or understanding any of the intricacies of the game. Why should I learn how to properly use my weapon if I can beat the monster with just basic attacks? Nergigante demanded that I engage with the best parts of the game's mechanics if I wanted to beat him. Without him, I would not have ever known those mechanics were there, and I would not have gotten into this series. And what is true for Nergigante is true for Magnamalo today. As I speak, somewhere in this world, someone is falling in love with Rise, because he's getting slapped around by Magnamalo. Yes, indeed. I am sure there are people just like a younger me, who need Magnamalo to be exactly how hard he is. To make him any easier is to deny those people the opportunity to become interested in this game. I can tell you that, because the same thing kinda happened to me again. When I beat Mizuzune in the first demo, I still was not familiar with all the things that made Rise different. But Magnamalo was having none of my bullshit. He was not going to let me coast with just the skills I had gotten from World. Once again, more was demanded of me. I learned how and when to properly wirefall. I learned how to control monster attacks while wyvern riding. I discovered that Serene Pose was actually super useful. And I even started exploring the area in search of useful endemic life, which is something I had never done before. Being forced to engage with all the aspects of a game available to me has once again given me the appreciation I otherwise would not have. And the fact that the demo monster did this to me twice leads me to believe this is not a coincidence. This is what they are designed to do. And if that means that it takes some people 19, 42, 63, or even 100 tries, then I say that's okay. And if someone decides that it's not worth it and gives up, well, that's okay too. And that's the end of this rant. For anybody who I haven't alienated yet, I'm sure I'll get to you in a future video. But for now, thank you very much for listening.